Think Southern Hemisphere rugby and one name instantly rises: the ultimate test, the Rugby Championship. 4 nations, unrelenting battles, decades of prestige. Whether you live for the precision of the All Blacks, the power of the Springboks, the flair of the Wallabies, or the passion of the Pumas, you're in for something epic. But what is the Rugby Championship? How did it start? Who dominates it? What legends have emerged? And why does it matter right now in 2025? Grab your team's jersey. Over the next 20 minutes, we're diving deep. From its roots in 1996, through expansions, record-breaking players, mini trophies with real stories, to the action in 2025, and the ripple effects heading toward 2026 and beyond. Welcome to Rugby Decoded. Let's break it down. Origins and evolution. The Rugby Championship traces its origins to the Tri-Nations, launched in 1996. Prior to that, test rugby matches between Southern powers were sporadic. The Tri-Nations was purposeful: create a structured, fiercely contested annual championship that mirrored the intensity of the 6 nations in the North. And it delivered. In that first year, the New Zealand All Blacks blitzed the competition, not just winning, but sweeping every match. A whitewash that established their early dominance. Their dominance continued into 1997, another undefeated campaign. Between 1996 and 2011, New Zealand swung the pendulum with 10 titles, while Australia and South Africa each collected 3. It wasn't just bragging rights, it was a proving ground for modern Southern Hemisphere rugby power. Then came a pivot. In 2012, Argentina formally joined the competition. The Tri-Nations was reborn as the Rugby Championship, acknowledging Los Pumas as a rising rugby force. Their performance in the 2007 World Cup, plus their growing test credentials, warranted full inclusion. That expansion added new vibrancy and narrative complexity. Since 2012, the championship has only grown in prestige. New Zealand remains the undisputed standard with approximately 20 combined titles, Tri-Nations plus Championship, followed by South Africa with 5 and Australia with 4, while Argentina still chases that elusive first championship win. So the competition rose from a 3-team triangular battle in 1996 to a 4-team championship that tests heritage, heart and strategy, format and structure, moving into how it plays out. The Rugby Championship operates on a double round-robin system. Each of the 4 nations plays 6 matches, 3 at home, 3 away, across a usually compact schedule. Win and you get 4 points. Draw gets you 2 points. Lose, nothing. But here's the real kicker: bonus points. You earn an attacking bonus if you score at least 3 more tries than your opponent. If you lose by 7 points or fewer, you still pick up a defensive bonus. It's a smart design. Reward the bold and keep space for fightbacks. Bonus point mechanics can decide tight championships, difference makers in tight ladders. In most seasons, even in Rugby World Cup years, the full 6-match format holds. The 2025 edition, for example, is planned to run home and away across all 4 teams, maintaining tradition and balance. But the landscape is shifting. Post-2025, the Rugby Championship will become biennial, making room for a broader Nations Championship, a 12-team tournament blending Sanzar sides with 6 nations heavyweights like England and Ireland. That transition elevates the championship's legacy. Each edition becomes a historic marker. For now, though, its rhythm remains fierce, tight, and essential. Teams and rivalries. Let's meet the competitors, not just as teams, but as stories shaped by legacy, heartbreak, glory, and raw stats. The New Zealand All Blacks are the championship's commanding saga. With 20 titles, they are the most successful by a clear margin. Remarkably, they've never finished last. No wooden spoon, no place in the basement. And in 1996 and 1997, they didn't just win, they whitewashed the competition. All matches, 1 nation. Their career record: 139 matches played, 103 wins, 2 draws, 34 losses, and an eye-popping plus 1,562 points differential, monstrous dominance on the scoreboard. South Africa's Springboks bring weight and strategy to the field. They've lifted the title 5 times. At times they've slumped toward the bottom, absorbing some last-place finishes, though detailed wooden spoon tallies are elusive. In 135 matches, they've had 61 wins, 5 draws, 69 losses, with a negative 97-point differential, with South Africa playing playing less games than the Kiwis and the Aussies due to pulling out of the 2020 tournament completely due to the COVID-19 pandemic and player welfare concerns. They've never delivered a complete season sweep, but what's more impressive is individual brilliance. Bryan Habana, ever lethal, holds the all-time Rugby Championship try-scoring record with 21 tries. Underneath those tries are scars of loss and seasons that demanded rebuild. Australia's Wallabies have also lifted the trophy 4 times and have their share of woes that landed them in lower ladders. They haven't ever whitewashed the tournament, but continue to produce unpredictable performances. Against the All Blacks and Boks, they follow a path of spirited breakthroughs and near-miss heartbreak. Their record from their 139 matches since 1996, 56 wins, 6 draws, 77 losses, minus 581 point differential. Then there are Argentina's Pumas, who joined in 2012 and still chase the title. They've often finished at the bottom, more wooden spoons than any team since entry, and a minus 885 point differential. But their trajectory has been upward. With 12 wins, 3 draws and 52 losses from 67 matches, their win ratio sits around 18%. But that belies something bigger. Argentina's Pumas have become a savvy, hard-nosed squad that finally rewrote history in 2025 with their first home win over the All Blacks. No longer also means no longer a minnow. Beyond titles and tables, there are mini trophies that fuel extra rivalry. The Bledisloe Cup, contested annually between New Zealand and Australia, has roots before the championship days, tracing back to 1932. Traditionally, the All Blacks have held the majority of wins, with 52 to their name and 2024 being their 22nd in succession. The Freedom Cup between the All Blacks and the Springboks sprang up in 2004, a trophy linking legacy and modern rivalry. The All Blacks can also boast the most titles with 16 at present. The Wallabies and Springbok vie for the Mandela Challenge Plate, started initially as a one-off match in 2000, and then the Puma Trophy, also established in the year 2000, adds extra bite to every Argentina-Australia Axis match. The Pumas winning their first only recently in 2023. Each trophy represents decades of contest and national pride, even more colour in an already vibrant competition. So in summary, the All Blacks are the undisputed dynasty, emblematic consistency unmatched. The Boks and Wallabies provide drama, defensive grit, and flashes of glory. Argentina, the underdog-turned-contender, brings the hunger and the future. Player stats and records since 1996. Let's shine the spotlight on player legends, whose numbers define eras. First up, Dan Carter. The All Blacks fly half is the all-time leading point scorer in competition history, with 554 points spanning 41 matches, 2003 to 2015, comprised of 6 tries, 76 conversions, 120 penalties, and 4 drop goals. That's a singular mastery of both accuracy and resilience under pressure. In a sport where margins matter, Carter's consistency wowed fans and defined finals. No wonder he is greatly considered as one of, if not the, best fly halves to ever play the game. When it comes to tries, Bryan Habana's pace and precision delivered him 21 career tries, the most in Rugby Championship to Tri-Nations history. His threat on the wing illuminated matches and shaped results. On team-level records, Beauden Barrett isn't far behind, with around 20 tries, and Rieko Iwan with 19. Close to Habana's lead. With these two players active and still making the All Blacks squad, the chase for the Tri-King spot adds drama to each sprint and set-piece finish. Let's break down win ratios by team. The All Blacks boast an astounding 74% win rate. Springboks stand at 45%. Wallabies hover around 40%. Pumas, still developing, sit near 18%. These percentages map legacies. New Zealand writing with dominance, South Africa and Australia battling peaks and valleys, and Argentina steadily building their chapter. Beyond points and tries, it's the memory of moments. Carter's composure under pressure, Habana's speed and instinct, Barrett's all-around threat, and Iowen's youthful explosiveness. Every player contributes to the narrative, not just through numbers, but moments immortalized. Home advantage and hostile grounds. Now let's talk about something every player feels, every fan fuels, and every coach plans around: home advantage. And in the Rugby Championship, home advantage isn't just a nice to have, it's a game changer. When you think of Eden Park in Auckland, what comes to mind? For most opposition teams, it's not just a stadium, it's a graveyard for visiting ambitions. The All Blacks haven't lost a test there since 1994. That's over 30 years of fortress mentality. The psychology of playing in front of a fanatical home crowd with the haka reverberating in your chest. It shifts energy before the first whistle even blows. Then you've got the South African venues, Ellis Park and Loftus Versfeld, where altitude becomes the Boks' secret weapon. Playing at over 1,300 meters above sea level, oxygen runs low and lungs burn faster. The Springboks have trained their bodies to thrive there. Visiting teams? They're gasping for air after 60 minutes. It's physiological warfare. Head over to Buenos Aires and you enter the realm of the unpredictable. The atmosphere in a packed Estadio José Amalfitani is different. It's not just loud, it's chaotic in the best way. Drums, chants, crowd surges. Visiting sides often struggle with the intensity, and the Pumas feed off it. And don't forget the Australians. Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane is their spiritual stronghold. The Wallabies seem to find another gear there, especially against the All Blacks. And Optus Stadium in Perth? It's fast becoming a modern fortress, with the dry surface and hard ground playing into Australia's high-tempo style. But home advantage in this competition isn't just about venue, it's about travel too. The championship spans 12 time zones and over 40,000 kilometers of travel in just a few weeks. Teams go from winter in Cape Town to early spring in Auckland, with jet lag and recovery windows playing into performance. Coaches manage this down to the hour. Sleep schedules, hydration, training loads, it's all finely tuned. Statistically, the win ratio at home is significantly higher for all four nations. For instance, New Zealand's win rate on home soil is over 85% in the Rugby Championship era. South Africa sits just under 70%, and Australia historically sits in the high 60s. Argentina's numbers are lower, but trending upward, especially after their historic 2022 win over Australia at home and their 2025 stunner against New Zealand in Buenos Aires. And yet, the greatest moments often come when a team flips the script, an away win in enemy territory. Like Argentina's famous first ever win in New Zealand in 2020, or the Springboks storming into Sydney and stealing it late, or the Wallabies cracking Ellis Park against all odds. These are the upsets that turn good tournaments into great ones. So yes, home advantage matters, but in the Rugby Championship, stealing a win away? That's how you make history. Why it matters. Impact and legacy. The Rugby Championship matters deeply because it builds the core of modern Test rugby culture. Year after year, this is where Southern Hemisphere identity is tested and defined. Every match pits raw physicality, precision, heritage and heartbreak in a cauldron of international pressure. Players are tested, not just against opposing teams, but conditions, travel and expectation. They evolve. Front rowers become monsters, backs master spacing, coaches refine tactics, and referees sharpen rule interpretation under fire. Argentina's 2025 victory over the All Blacks crystallizes that evolution. How parity, passion and persistence can rewrite the rulebook. Whether you support South Africa, New Zealand, Australia, or the growing insurgent force of Argentina, you're witnessing a living story being rewritten. And the shift to a biennial schedule after 2025, opening room for the Nations Championship, only deepens the championship's significance. It elevates each edition into era-defining territory, a landmark in rugby's global evolution. So this isn't just a tournament, it's the forge of progress, an engine of legacy, a narrative that pulses beyond tries and conversions. The coaches who shaped the championship. Behind every great Rugby Championship campaign, there's a strategist, a motivator, a mastermind, the coach. And over the years, this competition has been a proving ground, not just for players, but for the men with the whiteboards and the game plans. Let's start with Steve Hansen. Quietly spoken, razor-sharp and deeply analytical, Hansen turned the All Blacks into a high-functioning machine during his tenure from 2012 to 2019. Under him, New Zealand played an expansive, layered brand of rugby, built on depth, discipline, and ruthless efficiency. He didn't just win games, he evolved the sport. Then there's Rassie Erasmus, the architect behind South Africa's resurgence. His approach? Brutally honest reviews, next-level detail, and a fearlessness in selection. He and Jacques Nienaber, his longtime defence coach turned head coach, have brought a militaristic structure to the Springboks, focused on kick pressure, line speed, and bomb squad depth. Under their guidance, South Africa didn't just win titles, they became the team no one wanted to face. Australia too has had its share of iconic figures. Michael Cheika, emotional and fiery, led the Wallabies to a Tri-Nations title in 2015 and a World Cup final the same year. His leadership style was raw, passionate, and deeply loyal. Then came Dave Rennie, more methodical but faced with tough rebuilding years. And now Joe Schmidt, the New Zealander with Irish coaching pedigree, has taken the reins, tasked with reigniting Australian rugby after a rocky 2023. Argentina's evolution is just as compelling. Mario Ledesma brought structure and accountability during his time in charge, helping deliver historic wins like the 2020 defeat of the All Blacks. Today, Felipe Contepomi is at the helm, a former fly-half legend bringing attacking creativity and deep national pride. Under him, the Pumas are shifting from gutsy underdogs to tactical threats. What sets this competition apart is how the coaching rivalries develop over time. It's not just about the game in front of them, it's chess played across seasons. Coaches plan 12 months ahead, mapping out resting cycles, peaking periods, and strategic away wins to steal. From touchline rants to post-match mind games, these men are as much a part of the show as the players. They don't just manage teams, they shape eras. So to wrap up, the Rugby Championship is a living legacy. Born as Tri-Nations in 1996, expanded with Argentina in 2012, dominated by New Zealand, yet ever shifting, punctuated by career milestones, historic wins, and unmissable drama. Right now in 2025, Argentina's home win over the All Blacks signals a new era. Legends like Dan Carter and Brian Habana have left their marks, while the future is wide open, especially with a format shift coming after this edition. Which team's arc do you feel most connected to? The relentless All Blacks? The proud Boks? The mercurial Wallabies? Or the hungry, heart-first Pumas? Let me know in the comments. I want to hear your takes. If this exploration hooked you, smash that like button, subscribe to Rugby Decoded, and ring that notification bell to catch all behind the scrum insights, epic player profiles, and tactical deep dives heading your way. Thanks for decoding rugby with me. See you next time, where the scrum meets strategy.